Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chad with CD Shave, and thank you very much for joining me for today's Daily Shave. And today is a different kind of video. We're not doing a soap review today. Nope. So today, let's start off with Happy Labor Day. Labor Day. It's a very, very good day. I have this holiday with my daughter. We're going to go out and play some soccer and do a few things. But before that, as you can see, got a little behind on the shaving. Want to get that taken care of. It's bugging the crap out of me. So we're going to do that today. In today's shave, I'm using Castle Forbes Lime. Get the aftershave balm and the shave cream itself. As you can see, I've got it pressed into my CD shaving bowl, rocking and rolling, ready to go here. We are going to be using, when I finish assembling it, the Mule R41. We're going to pair it with a feather blade because I got so much stuff to mow. All right, so while we're getting loading up the blade here, let's talk about the topic of the video. Today's topic are comments. See, I am very much appreciative of all the comments and all the viewers and subscribers that I do have. And recently I got to 200, and I am going to be doing a giveaway. I just got a little behind on that. I'm working on that, though. That is coming down the pike, so keep watching as a thank you. So anyway, I noticed that you guys tend to leave a lot of comments, which I love. And I try to reply to every single one of them that gets put on there. Or at least acknowledge it anyway. And rocking and rolling, ready to go. So, all right. The thing about the comments, once in a while a comment gets left where I'm not able to reply to it. Now, I don't know if that's because of the settings that you guys have on there or something that I did. But I've tried different ways. I get a comment, I really want to reply to it. I start checking off all the settings. I look at everywhere, and for some reason, replying is just not an option. So, one of those comments I have right here. As you can see, it's pretty extensive. And I wanted to take a minute, do a shave, and acknowledge the comment that was left and reply to it appropriately. I don't, if I can't reply to it, I can't reply to it. But the person that took the extra time to do this, if you guys figured, the way I see it, if you guys are taking the time to put a comment on there, no matter, I don't care if it's 2 words or 200 words. If you guys are leaving a comment on there, I'd like to take the time and show you the respect of replying to it, acknowledging it at least. It drives me nuts when I watch a video and I leave a comment and somebody completely just ignores it. And I've had that happen on more than one occasion, and that's the fastest way for me to unsubscribe. I'm good. You can't even take the time. You want me to watch your videos, but you can't take the time to acknowledge me or reply to my comment. That doesn't make me happy. So I don't want to do that here. But let's continue on. That's going to be the topic. Let's continue on with the rest of the gear here. We're going to be using the Omega Synthetic Brush S in the Beechwood handle. So we've covered the cream. I have aftershave balm. I'm not going to be using an aftershave today. This is lime scented. It smells really, really good. If you guys want more information on this particular soap, check out my review that I did on it a couple months back. So let's we're going to throw the razor in the water here. Let that get heated up. We're going to get this wet. Now, the comment that was left for me, I'm going to say the name on because I try not to use last names, but since that's how it was listed on YouTube, that's what I will say to it. The gentleman's name that left it says is John Black. Now, Mr. Black, I don't know if that's your real name. If it's completely your call. If it is, if it isn't, at least you know who I'm talking about here. So, anyway, I wanted to. We'll get this lathered up, and then we're going to read this comment. And because it was so extensive, I want to try to reach every single portion of it. So, and discuss it as best as we can. Now, the topic of his comment, he left that on one of my Castle Forbes reviews, and that one was lavender. It really wasn't lavender. I like to use at night, and this is the morning, and it's going to be a warm day. I was really feeling the lime, so I went with the lime. But it is, like I said, it was a Castle Forbes, so I kind of went with that theme. And that's what we're going to do today. So, He had some comments about the Castle Forbes product itself. Now, Castle Forbes, in my personal opinion, is a high-end product. It's a really good product, but it's something that I tend to use sparingly because, to be honest with you, it's just not in my budget. It's just not. I mean, I understand that everybody's budgets are different. Mine, it's not something I can swing regularly, and it's not something that I can really afford to just go right through or use every day even. So, if I could, would I use it every day? Probably. It's good stuff. So. But I also like to use some stuff that's different too, so I tend to go. That smells really good. Got a nice lime scent to it. There's nothing really else with it. It's just strictly lime, and I like that. So, all right, let's start off with the comment here. It says, "Mr. Blackfoot, I've always wanted to try this," meaning the Castle Forbes lavender. So I actually just ordered it with the pre-shave. Good Lord, it was expensive. That's his first statement. And you know what? You're right. It is. Like I said, it is very expensive. If you can't swing it, don't sweat it, because there are plenty of other stuff out there with these scents that work just as well and are a lot more affordable. But I think everybody in their shave den should have that one soap that to them is, the luxury soap, the one that you get for that special occasion. Maybe it's, the anniversary with your wife, or maybe you're going on a hot date or something, and you're going to use that one expensive, or to you, expensive, because obviously expensive is relative. But, that one expensive soap that you just don't use regularly. And I think everybody should have one of those in their den. Maybe even if it's just like a couple more dollars more than what you usually use. Or maybe it's just, not about price. It's just, maybe it's hard to come by. Maybe it's discontinued. And you really like it. Everybody should have one of those. I got a couple of those that are discontinued, and I use them sparingly because of that. It has nothing to do with price. But I like them that much, and I get a lot of compliments when I wear them. So you're right. This stuff is expensive. But if you can swing it, I recommend it. I wanted to get the balm also, but I had to chill on that. I hear you, which is why I'm sitting on the sample. They do offer balms, and I like their balms, but if you can only do one, don't sweat it. I mean, if you can just get the soap, that's fine. Get the soap, and you know what? Because it's about the performance on this stuff. It really is. And then grab yourself a lime-based balm, which there are plenty of, from another artisan that's cheaper, or even better yet, more local, more domestic to us. One of the things I've learned is, for some reason, you get it piffed to you, or you end up with a soap that you don't have the matching aftershave or balm with it. Go online, or if I happen to do a review on it, look at my review, and see what the notes are in it. And then you can find a balm on maybe that you already have in your collection, or maybe one that's just not as expensive and that works just as well, or aftershave, balm or aftershave. This goes for either one. And you can pair it up with something that'll work quite nicely. Because believe me, there are some things I've got on the burner that I'm ready to pull the trigger on, but I can't swing it right now. but don't let that you know, if you're sitting there saying, well, I have the money for the soap, but I don't have the money for the balm or the aftershave, well, take a second and look at what you have. You might have something that'll complement it just fine. Grab the soap anyway. Or, like I said, pair it with something cheaper. You don't have to necessarily pair everything for exactly what it. You don't have to pair, you know, the Executive Man from By Sterling with the Executive Man aftershave. You know, it's not like if you pair the two, you know, the Executive Man God is going to come up from the earth and scream at you and chastise you and burn you. It's just, it's soaps. Match it with something else. I do it all the time. Some of the stuff I've paired together, I didn't think would go together at all. And it turns out it does quite nicely. And it comes down to what you want. This stuff that I've paired together before, and I've told people, hey, try this. They tried it, and they're like, I don't like the way that goes together. The hell with you. I like the way it goes together, so I do it. That's what it's about. It's about you. Well, you and your significant other, I suppose. If he or she is complaining because they don't like the way you smell, well, that's a problem, in my opinion. And you may want to address that. All right, so moving on. Yeah, if it weren't for the 10% discount, the order would have been over $100. Yeah, you're right. This shit's expensive. Which is why I go back to my first remark and say, learn how to pair it with other stuff. I have heard... I'm trying to think of what it is. I don't think it's... it's no. I can't think of it now. I can picture it in my head. There's a lime. And, I can't think of it now. But there's a, I've heard that they make a really good lime. I can see it. I can see the label in my head. I want to say Captain's Choice, but I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. But anyway. All right. Next. The pre-shave cost more than the balm. Yeah, I've seen that. And I know what you're talking about. I'm not huge into pre-shave stuff. I know some people swear by it. I used to use a pre-shave soap, actually, that worked pretty well. I got away from it because it was actually my technique that was causing the problem, not my skin. But the pre-shave it's good for learning because it allows you to screw things up and it doesn't really hurt you as bad. And I was using Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. They have the pre-shave soap. Comes in a tin. This right here, and it just, you don't have to get the tin. You can get it without it, and you unscrew it, and it comes in a soap like that, and it works really well. It's mentholated, and I actually did a review on this too. But and you know what? Once in a while, I will use it because you can actually use it in the shower too, as like a pre-shave or. And I always wash my beard in the shower with a either Nivea or Neutrogena or something like that. It gets all the oils and crap out of it, and that stuff works pretty good too. for that. So, and Douglas Smythe, the guy that owns that company, has a video on YouTube, I believe, still, that he goes over how to use that very soap. So, and in my opinion, if you're talking about pre-shaves that are scented, I've got the lavender soap and I got the lavender balm and I want to get the lavender pre-shave. The pre-shaves, in my opinion, the smells, they work, but they can work, but the smells don't last through the soap and through the aftershave typically. So it's not like if you use a pre-shave like this one, which it doesn't really have, it just has a mentholated smell to it. It's not scented per se. It's not like you're going to finish your shave and all you can smell is menthol afterwards. You won't smell it, in my opinion. So don't, if you're a pre-shave person, don't sweat using don't sweat that too much, don't put so much stock into how it smells or the scent on it, because it's not going to matter throughout the rest of the shave. It'll still work, but in my opinion, between using the soap and your aftershave, if you use one in the balm too, if you use that, the pre-shave goes away by the time the smell of it anyway. So, I've been using Tallow and Steel West Indies for the past 3 weeks, and it's among the best soaps I've ever used. I totally agree. Tallow and Steel makes awesome products. They really do. He asked, how does this compare to that? That's a good question. Tallow and Steel makes, like I just said, fantastic stuff. But they're cheaper than Castle Forbes. Tallow and Steel, I would not say is cheap, because they're not. But they are cheaper than Castle Forbes. So Tallow and Steel, but in my opinion, I think Castle Forbes scent is stronger, honestly. I think performance-wise, they're neck and neck. If you're looking for something that performs just as good as Castle Forbes, and you're not really focused on the scent all that much, scent strength, I should say, a good comparison would be Tallow and Steel, in my opinion. Some people may hear that and go, "You're out of your friggin' mind." Well, then don't watch my video if you don't like it. But that's how I feel. It feels good to get all this hair off, let me tell you. Continuing on here. The other thing I want to tell you, he says, I know it's hard to compare soaps to creams. Yes and no. I mean, yes and no, really. There are people out there that will chastise you for, they'll say it's, apples and oranges. If you know how to use a soap properly, it's not apples and oranges. Ultimately, you're looking for slickness, cushion density, you're looking for all the performance. If you use the soap right, it's the same thing. It's just, I think creams I use creams generally when I'm in a time crunch. Because it's just one less step. I like making the lather out of the soaps. But if I'm in a bit of a time crunch, I'll grab Parasso out of the tube or Taylorville Bond Street. A couple other ones I have. Bam, put it in there. You're rocking and rolling. You face lather it and you're ready to go. So for me, I don't think creams necessarily perform any better than soaps, or soaps perform any better than creams. For me, it's more convenience rather than anything else. If you're not a bowl lather, or you don't want a bowl lather, and you want a face lather, and you want to do something that takes less time, go for the cream. It's easier. I mean, it's kind of instant. It's right there, you know. Some people will disagree with me, but they can. That's their God-given right. All right, so moving on. One second. Cat. Okay, so moving on. Let's see. He did say that he doesn't think tallow and steel. I've used his stuff costing 3 times more. That is, or I've used stuff costing 3 times more, and it's not as good. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, you're right. Then that's another thing I wanted to touch on is price does not always equal quality or a good shave. And I think I kind of hinted around that already, but I got myself here a little bit. But he's absolutely right. There's stuff that you can get that sometimes it depends on how you shave. It depends on your skill level. You may get a soap and you try it, and it's an expensive soap, or maybe it's really popular and everybody under the sun loves it. You try it, you're like, this stuff sucks. It could be your skill level. It could be your skin just doesn't agree with it. It could be the gear you're using. It could be anything. Bottom line is, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work for you. You know? But you're right. Price point does not always equal a better shave. Sometimes it does, depending on how it works. Castle Forbes, for me, works really well. And like I said, a want, not a need. Because if you're strictly looking for performance and nothing else, there are plenty of options out there that are cheaper that will, in my opinion, do just as well. You people have I have the samples. I do not have a full boat of Castle Forbes. I just can't do it right now. Someday, I'd like to have a tub of Castle Forbes, or a tub of, a bottle of their aftershave or whatnot, or the balm. But I just can't justify it right now. And again, that's a want more than anything else. It's definitely not a need. He says, I'll be right back. And we're back. So anyway, continuing on here. Another reason I passed on the Balm was because of the price point. The only problem I have with the soap is that I have a very dense Badger brush and I can't use circular strokes, or I'll just take the lather off. I really don't know what to say to that. I probably should have used my Badger brush today. I've never had an issue. I have one of the cheapest Badger brushes out there. People have commented on that and have said that. And you're right, I do. But it's not... To me, Badger brushes are not all that. I use the Tuxedo Knot all the time. All the time. And I love it. And I've never had an issue. If I want something, like I take a piece of hard soap and put it in the bowl, and I really want to go at it and get it to lather up, I'll use my Boar, because Boars tend to be a stiffer brush, and they tend, or this one does, and they tend to eat the crap out of the soap. So, which is what I want when I've got a sample pressed into the bowl and I really want to make a large amount of lather. Especially if I'm doing my head and my face at the same time. So. All right. I have an old Art of Shaving travel brush that actually does a better job. Don't ask me how, but it does. If you go to the forums on the Shave Den, look under brushes, and you'll see the post "expensive isn't always better." I completely agree. And case in point, Second Kind of Cool. That guy does a whole video on makeup brushes that you can actually buy in the grocery store, of all places. And they're very similar to synthetic. They're not a Tuxedo Knot, in my opinion, but they're great to travel with because they're meant to be compact and go into like somebody's purse or whatever. But they're great to shave with, and they are meant to be soft because they're meant for applying makeup. So they actually work very well. And I think he said that they were $6. Check them out. It's on his. I think he still has it on listed. Second Kind of Cool. Give him a shout. If you're not subscribed to him, give him a subscription. He's got a lot of stuff on there. That's pretty interesting. He tries out a lot of products. Some products, a lot of them that I don't have. So I think we complement each other pretty well. So take a look. Yeah, see, this brush that I was about to throw away does a far better job. I never throw away a brush. This is my original brush from Vanderhagen. It sucks. I hate this thing. But I will never get rid of it just because it was my first brush. So, let's see. Well, we're going to go ahead and rinse this off. Again, we're going to go into a cleanup pass. So, we're gonna go into a cleanup pass and finish up this shave, and then we'll be right back with the rest of this comment. So thank you very much for joining me. Okay, we are back. The shave has been completed. I just want to finish up the comment section on this video so that we're talking about here. Next, Mr. Black was talking about the let's see, we're going to talk about all the essential oils. Actually, he talked about synthetic brushes. Yeah, I definitely recommend synthetic brushes. I really do. I mean, the only time I use my natural stuff, honestly, is when I'm really using a hard soap or trying to get a sample to be really lathered and make a lot of it for demonstration purposes, or because I'm doing both my head and my face at the same time. So yeah, but I definitely recommend synthetic. They're so much cheaper and they work awesome. They really do. And you can get them in custom made and all kinds of different handles and all kinds of different artisans. Highly recommend it. So then he went on to say that when Nordstrom's carried their product line, carried Castle Forbes product line, I believe is what he's getting at. The scent of the cedar and sandalwood was overwhelming. It smelled like damp wood. I never actually checked that one. I have no idea. You could be completely right. I know that the cedar and sandalwood I really, really like with Castle Forbes. And he was saying that he has the Neroli Special Reserve Cologne, and it's incredible. Again, I've not tried that, but I have heard good things about that stuff, honestly. So from a couple people, not a lot of people have mentioned it too much, but I've heard a couple things on it, and I've heard good stuff about it. Anyway, but yeah, and I wouldn't pay full price for that fragrance. Yeah, fragrances are very expensive in and of themselves, which is why I don't usually go for those. I like the aftershaves. I like putting them on. They don't last as long, but you know what? If you put it on and you get throughout the day and for some reason you're going out that night, you want to wear something different, you can, and generally the aftershave is gone from when you used it in the morning. And if you don't and you want to continue with that aftershave, just throw some more on, and they're cheap enough to replace. So most, not all. So there's definitely not $300-400 typically. There are some out there that are that price range, but there are some fragrances out there that are that much. I won't do that. That's not my thing. So anyway, and that'll about do it for his comment. Mr. Black, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you watching the videos and leaving such an involved comment. I'm sorry I didn't get back to it sooner. I tried. I don't know why I couldn't. But this was a pretty good way to get back to it and really kind of get into the nitty gritty of what you left. And guys, if you guys want to leave comments, again, the longer, that's fine. I don't care. Long, short, doesn't matter. I'll reply to them any which way I can, even if it is through a video. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for the shave. Oh, you know what? We're going to finish up here with some aftershave balm. Before we do, this stuff is almost like a gel, if you can see that. But anyway, when it first goes on, I know this is going to steer a few of you away, but when it first goes on, almost has a pine sol smell to it because it's so heavy in lime. Pine sol meaning that cleaning stuff. But it doesn't stay that way. It simmers down after a few minutes, and then after like 20 minutes of having it on there, it changes to a more lime, citrusy scent. So it's not quite as powerful. So, but anyway, so that is the shave. That is the shave for the comment today. I really appreciate you guys all watching and all the comments you guys leave. If you guys have any comments or questions or concerns about this video, please, as always, leave them in below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, get that ticker going. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Make sure you subscribe. Love to have you on board, but make sure you knock that bell. That way you get a notification every time we do a new video here at CD Shaving. Folks, I am Chad. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you guys in the next video.